Hi everyone. Sorry I'm late. I'm really wanting to get my stupid little hands-free headset working, and as always, whatever I get first turns out to not be the thing. Probably because I try to get the cheapest thing first. Yeah. Maybe I need to spend hundreds of dollars to be able to have a wire-free headset. We'll see. Hey, gotta get my glue gun started. So, yesterday I was mentioning I was gonna do like a bubbly surface around the interface between the sculpture and the wooden base. I thought that would kind of get the idea of like the evil is bubbling to the surface and forming into this demonic visage. And there's already like these bubbly looking bits in the resin anyway, so I think that should work out well. I'm debating whether or not I need to paint do an airbrush paint job over this. Maybe it doesn't need to be airbrush, but something to homogenize the colors. Because, I mean, I airbrushed where I had blended before up into the thing, so it's got this kind of antelope brown, and this brown has a lot more red in it. Doesn't really match. So yeah, hey, real quick, let me give the shout outs to, let's see, got a couple new subs yesterday. Miss Nova Dark on Twitch is following, Flyer Fly Home on YouTube, Jasmine Ba, and Howard McQuaid. Thanks guys for your follows and the subs. Okay, so if I'm going to airbrush, actually, let me try one thing before I even talk about airbrushing, because it's so annoying. You guys, airbrushing is so annoying. I'm going to try some of this shade. Who knows? Maybe I can blend it just fine that way. Pretty sure I used this shade to do all the little dark areas on here to begin with, so find a less prominent area. So being a shade, it's mostly transparent, and it's really only going to show up in the cracks. Well, I mean, it'll darken down whatever it covers a little bit, but not a ton. I guess the other option is to just try using the actual ink that I airbrushed on there. Hi Sigrid. Hey Kenzo. Good evening to you, mate. It's not still raining over there, is it? Cranking my plans. I have another paint that's close. rain in Denmark. That's good. Ice and fog is cool, unless you're driving, and then it's not so cool. But it's cool for walks. Color. I think it needs a little bit of green. Let's explore thoroughly. Get in there with the stick. It's thoroughly enough. Some of that medium back in there. It's tainting my beautiful green with a little bit of brown, but since I'm not a paint by numbers kind of guy, I don't need to worry about a particular color not being exactly the same. Except in the case where I airbrushed with a specific color, and it'd be awfully nice to be able to just pull that off the shelf. I have no idea how old these paints are. I wouldn't be surprised if they were over a decade old. Hey, Letha. Kinzo's reporting from England. It's been nice and sunny all day till about 6 p.m. So went out to Wales for a lonesome ride on motorcycle. Met up with a few buds at the Ponderosa. Nice. Like this wireless system just doesn't want to play nice with my computer. Randomly stop working for random reasons. Cool. Let me double check, make sure so you guys aren't hearing anything. No, you got. Even to this, there's music going. Does nothing. The goggles do nothing. The headset does nothing. Nothing does nothing. Well, I guess that's I'm mostly sitting still. Give me a second. Did you guys hear my headphones say they were pairing? Okay, now I got something. That's gonna be super annoying if I have to constantly be dealing with that garbage. I guess I should have asked for expensive headphones for Christmas. It's pouring rain down there, Aletha? It's probably pouring rain out here. I haven't even poked my head outside today. Hey Ben Morta. Glad to hear you're alive. Did you do a reshoot with Pumpkin? What do you mean you're happy with your Christmas posts? To get pics of my horses with tinsel and ribbons later this week. Wow. Sounds ambitious. Oh no, you dropped your phone in a CNC coolant machine. Yikes. I'm not sure exactly what a CNC coolant machine is. I mean, I know what a CNC machine is. I assume it needs coolant from time to time. The Rockies of Wales. A little hillish mountain range there. I've never heard of the Rockies of Wales. I did, however, see that Hugh Grant movie called The Man Who Went Up a Hill and Came Down a Mountain, which was a thoroughly British movie. See, this is why I wear gloves, and every time I'm like, oh, I only need one glove. I regret it. That was a cute movie about a town that lived next to a hill that was, you know, I can't remember what it was. Maybe it was 100 feet shy of being designated officially as a mountain. And so the town rallied to just carry a crap ton of rocks up to the top of the hill till they got it high enough to be considered a mountain. I don't know if it's based on a true story. I like to think it is. Good lord. apparently this needs to be in a bigger thing. And I know I bought a giant thing of bigger things for mixing. Where it is, maybe it's over here. Let's see. Well, this is not the bigger thing that I wanted, but it is a bigger thing. I need a smaller, bigger thing. This will do for now. Wrath, lucky number 7. Thanks. Thank you very much, good sir. I appreciate it. Okay, now I had a brush that I was using. That wasn't that one. What do you... Oh, I put it over here. Hid it from myself, okay. So I'm trying to match this general browny green. If I've matched it, I should be able to paint over this, and it just blends right in. So what does it need? It needs to be a bit darker. I think the tone might be right. A touch of black. Some of this decades-old Reaper miniatures. Because I'd like to get through this stuff before it's completely useless, which I think it's probably at that completely useless point already. Okay, man, it is no longer Halloween. You're not allowed to be spooky. New juniper latte at Starbucks. I'm not a fan of these plant flavored things that they keep, like tree flavored things they keep coming out with. I don't want to knock it till I try it, but all the ones I have tried I've not been happy with. Still needs to be a bit darker. Finished a batch of caramel. I cannot think about that. Yesterday I finally got into the 170s after like 6 months since I've been there. I went up to 190 not too long ago, so I've been kind of panic is not the right word, but renewed commitment, let's say. To get back and to make 70s be my regular, but then this morning I was back up 181 or 180.5 or, you know. You really shouldn't care that much about a number like that, but it's just annoying when you feel like you're losing ground. So this, I feel like I can blend somewhat. Doubts about juniper latte being good. One thing in its favor is that it's not too sweet and it tastes a little minty. It gets tiresome having to order a latte with half of the flavor because they're otherwise drowned in sugar. Yeah. That is one thing about the United States that is quite unique, is that we make everything 1,000 times sweeter than everywhere else in the world. I guess it's that more is more American attitude we got. If sweet is good, then ridiculously hyper sweet must be better. Which, I mean, I grew up in this, with this taste palette and profile, so I'm totally a victim of it myself. Turned on my glue gun and then decided to try something else. Stopped using it. Now probably most of the battery's dead. Hey there, Mighty Caboose. How you doing? Welcome. Thanks for the skolas. Those always make me happy. care more about your body fat than weight? Yes, I do, but they're, I've found, almost always directly proportional. At least, just because the only exercise I can stand is weightlifting, and so that's all I do. And as a result, my muscle mass, I don't think changes much at all. Like, when my weight fluctuates, it's because of losing fat or gaining fat. Like, I know for a lot of people who don't work out regularly and, you know, they start dieting and they start seeing weight fluctuations, they can panic because sometimes they're gaining weight and it turns out it's actually muscle weight. Not the case with me. I got plenty of muscle weight. This is not sure I would want a lot of salt on everything either. Music is drowning me out. Okay, thanks. Is that better? The Mighty Caboose, I downloaded a whole bunch of like generic YouTube stuff. Spent some time yesterday because I got these headphones and I was like, okay, now that I can, like, when I listen to music that jazzes me up, which is usually metal, sometimes it could be techno, depends on my mood and the style of the music and whatever. But I really have a lot more fun doing art when I've got something to groove to. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna find some generic YouTube licensed stuff, and then do to have to listen to now that I can hear stuff. That's, man, sorry, I'm very distracted by what I'm doing. Anyway, yeah, so I just did a search for metal or heavy. I think it was heavy. And there's one artist in particular who creates free YouTube music that I found almost all of it pretty good. A lot of it is just like, you'll recognize it's kind of a riff from a metal song, or like it's his take on a genre or a particular band, with no vocals and just the metal riffs, and I like it well enough. Although I had this thought last night. Speaking of music, let me find my favorite. So Windswept, spelled with V's of course, Windswept. These guys are awesome. Like, it's almost like music you would buy at a store as opposed to download free for YouTube. Let's find something awesome. Here we go. Chasing the Traitor by Windswept. Oh, but to answer your question, I can't tell you who it was because I don't have a history that I know how to access. It's just kind of randomly playing from my playlist. It says, I've had to back off on working out because I'm riding horses so much, and that's exercise by itself. Coming home and doing another workout was wearing me down. Yeah. Riding horses does take it out of you, from what I've been told. I haven't done it enough to recall. about this more rocking. So this band, I was able to get the YouTube collection, which is some ridiculous number of tracks. Like, it's over 100 tracks for $10, and then it's royalty free. So go Windswept. One thing that occurred to me last night, you know, I've been brainstorming what I can do to get my Patreon numbers up, because I need a ton of money to advertise the book series. If I want to launch my franchise, people need to know about it, and that requires advertising, and advertising requires money. And although I make a fine salary at ArenaNet, living in the greater Seattle area means pretty much all of that money goes away to cost of living. Just the rent, the food, the gas, everything up here is crazy expensive. Mostly it's the rent. So anyway, I don't have all this money to pay for advertising, and it would be great if the Patreon could support that. Like, I'm working really hard to make free stuff for people. Wouldn't it be awesome if I had more people pitching into that? Like, you know, there's all these YouTube creators out there, some of which I support, that do you know, reviews for movies or games or whatever. And it's them, I mean, it's not that they don't work at all on it, but compared to what I do, they just show clips of games or movies and they write a script and they talk over it, and that's what they do. And some of them are making like $10,000 a month doing that. And I'm like, you know, I don't expect to ever make $10,000 a month, but making more than $60 a month for the amount of time and effort that I put into it, which I think is probably more than what these other creators are doing. Boy, that sure could make it so that I'd be able to get Tales from Talifar off the ground with that kind of crazy mad cash. So anyway, I've been thinking about how do I get my Patreon numbers up. I'm missing some chat. You thought horseback riding was just sitting there? Yeah. Nope. Turns out you have to activate almost every muscle in your body to stay upright and not get bounced around like a sack of potatoes. Kenzo says, I used to work out a long time ago on preteen, had mighty accident with barbell, hence reconstructed ribs, smashed my sternum. Ooh! Sounds like you didn't have a spotting buddy. Or if you did, they weren't a very good spotting buddy. Letha says, book advertising can cost a pretty penny, but you can space it out. So if they're $35 at an ad 1 month, $40 the next month, depending on the site and the prices. Yep. I mean, you can spend nothing on advertising and just do all social media stuff, or you can spend millions on advertising. And but from what I can tell, it's a pretty consistent ratio of how much you spend to how much, or at least how well known your brand becomes. Anyway, one of my thoughts last night about the Patreon was, hey, I'm doing these live streams and then posting them to YouTube, and as you would expect, they have far lower numbers, the live streams do, far lower numbers on YouTube than my, edited content that I work a long time on. Because yeah, these are less valuable. These are just more about just hanging out with the dude doing art, and you're free to ask questions and whatever. And that just has a limited appeal. Not everyone's gonna like me particularly. Even people who do like me particularly don't want to spend hours and hours and hours watching me do what I do. I mean, there's lots of people I like a lot that I wouldn't necessarily want to watch them do a thing for hours and hours and hours. And then there are people who do like watching people work for hours and hours and hours, but they need to be people with a very particular personality type that mine may not be. Right? It's just a chemistry thing. It's no harm, no foul on anyone's part for this being the case. But I assume that's why the YouTube numbers on my live stream recordings are not huge. So my thought was, hey, why am I wasting it on YouTube? I could put it on Patreon and have it so that Patreon subscribers can have the recordings of my live streams, and then they get to feel special and rewarded in some way that, you know, there's some reason to give a little bit of money to me a month. $1 a month. It's not really the amount, I think, that keeps most people from Patreoning. It's just, oh great, another site I have to sign up for, assuming they're not, you know, on Patreon yet. It's a big hassle. Yet another website, you need to do a name and password and, you know, fill out your payment info, blah blah blah. So I understand why most people don't do it. Anyway, that was my thought. It was like, stop putting it on YouTube, or stop having it listed on YouTube. Just have links that you can go to Patreon to get. Damon says, their potential audience is so much larger than yours. Yeah. I mean, here's what it comes down to. Do anything, work on anything that has another company footing the bill for production and advertising. You know, Disney spends millions and millions and millions on their movies and advertises them. So everyone has name recognition, people know what it is you're talking about, they care about that thing probably, and all you're doing is commenting on it. So you're really working off the back of someone else's time and money and investment. So that's just a huge advantage when it comes to capturing an audience. Which is why so many artists like me do almost exclusively branded stuff. You know, they're doing superheroes or video game characters or whatever. I do some of that, but you know, not as much as I could. But that's because I'm trying to develop my own IP, which is a ridiculously ambitious and unrealistic thing to ever try. So yeah, I would never expect to get anywhere near the kind of audience that commentators get, but it's just interesting to contemplate the amount of effort required to do what they do versus the reward compared to the amount of effort I put into my stuff and the reward that I get. Which, like, if I was paid hourly for this work that I do, it would be, I don't know, maybe a couple cents an hour. I charted it all out. Sweatshop wages. Aretha says, you can run Facebook ads, some authors swear by them. I'm kind of but still run an ad on there for a new release. And it's a good idea to put the recordings for Patreon. That's why I don't do Kickstarters, because it's another site to have stuff on. Yeah. Damon says, and your streams are stored on Twitch for a while already. Yes, they are. I think for a couple weeks or something, is it? Maybe 1 week? With the Facebook ads, there are lots of purported gurus out there who you can pay hundreds of dollars to take their class, and they'll tell you all the right knobs and buttons to press, the right tags, the right audience profile, or whatever it is. Those things apparently can make a huge difference. I think just kind of being a non-expert in advertising, just being an author and guessing at all that stuff, you're going to get mediocre results from it. I would expect that. Also, anyone could highlight the entire stream and store it forever. Yep. Yeah, I think it would be more of a kind of a symbolic gesture than a like practical, hey guys, here's this huge advantage if you are a patron. It's because from the research that I was doing, like the thing that people want from Patreon is access to the creator, not the creator of the universe, is access to kind of the creator, their thoughts behind the process, all that kind of stuff. And I read that and I was like, well, I mean, I already do that. That's my live streams. So it's not like I have anything to give. And that's when it clicked for me. I was like, oh, wait. Since I'm doing this behind the scenes stuff anyway, seems like the more appropriate thing to do then is to put it behind the Patreon paywall. And I think the number of people on YouTube who would miss it is so small that it's not a big deal. By the way, if any of you are watching on YouTube right now, of the like 50 to 200 people who ever watch, and I don't even know how much is watched, my guess is like maybe a minute or two. If any of you guys watch these on YouTube on a regular basis, let me know your thoughts on that idea. Aletha says, if those on YouTube miss it, they can become a patron. They can, or they can follow me on Twitch, right? Sigurd says, which of these will give you the most money? Which of what? Like having the YouTube on, or having the streams rebroadcast on YouTube versus having them only on Patreon? If that's what you're asking, I don't think having them on YouTube gives me anything significant, like pennies, I would guess, as far as the amount of money that I can then invest in advertising Tales from Telefar. Pennies. I mean, I guess the one thing it does for YouTube is it probably helps the algorithm keep keeps me higher in the algorithm, so that, yeah, I guess I'd be curious if I stopped the streaming, if the algorithm would then downgrade me and suddenly I'd be getting fewer subs on YouTube. Because that could be a potential downside to that. Alright, that's enough of that. Let's try to do some bubblies. I believe this says, I suspect that Patreon gives a higher % of donated money. Yeah. That it does. I can't remember what the number is, but it is definitely better than Twitch or YouTube. Okay, so can I do nice little bubblies with this? We're gonna find out. Gonna be fighting strings all day long. Sometimes if you do a little bit of swirl, it'll melt the end of the string enough to not make it a problem. I have some black glue on the bottom of this. Wow. For whatever reason, I had a black glue stick in here previously, and boy, you can see how much of the clear has, you know, it's almost completely used, and yet there's still black seeping out. Don't know why. Imagine if you blew your nose and you looked at your tissue and this is what you saw. Hi, Lisriel. Says, been watching your work since around the first SAB. Thanks for the great work, and I hope everything takes off for you. Oh, thank you. That's sweet. Well, is there just going to be black mixed in there forever? Is that what I'm learning? Lisriel says, you might not be able to speak about this, but can I hear your ideas you had for World 3 and 4? I feel like at this point, just talking about my hopes and dreams for what it could have been is probably fair game. Let's see, so World 3 obviously was going to be the caverns. And we were going to do, let's see, that was where I wanted to do an underwater level, where we would do something crazy with the physics, where you could just jump really high and slow. I want to say we figured out a way to do it. I can't remember what it was. And let's see, so in World 1 we had bee dogs that you would follow to their stash. In World 2 we had raccoon thieves. In World 3 I wanted it to be cat ants or cants. And so you would follow them to their bauble hoard because they're underground, right? So they need to be digging things. 1 second. We're definitely gonna have a minecart level. If you're doing caves, you gotta have minecarts. I wanted the boss to be like a giant train monster that's chasing you on the tracks, and you had to like jump from track to track and destroy the pieces in some order or something like that. Can't remember the exact idea, but something along those lines. World 4 was going to be Lord Vanquish's castle. Which was you were probably gonna start in a graveyard, you know, it was gonna do all those kind of Castlevania and other games like that, those kind of themes. I wanted to have a level that was really kind of like Mad Scientist Laboratory kind of place. Then the in-boss, I wanted to do... We were riffing a lot on Twin Peaks. Like there's that log lady, and there's owls. Oh yeah, it turns out all the owls that were stealing baubles for you, they were taking those baubles to the princess to create a giant pile of baubles so she could climb out the high window from her cell. There were going to be a variety of twists like that. Sacred, yes, I am definitely on Patreon. You can check me out. I'm Josh on Patreon, in fact. At the end of every video, I have a list of patrons. Hopefully you could suplex the train. Yeah, something like that seems like a great idea. I'm wondering if I could use like glass beads. So I remember for something else, I think it was like some kind of bug eggs or something. I was experimenting with making little drops on wax paper, and then I would glue them on. I agree that we need Worlds 3 and 4. I agree. If I ran the zoo... But don't worry, we've got lots of other cool stuff we're working on. Nice Real says, always think this year will be the one with a new world. Always surprised me since it's a popular event. Yeah, I mean, it's popular in some ways and not in others, is what it came down to. Not in the way that could justify the salary of, you know, 6 or 7 people working on it for 6 months. Really, that's what it comes down to. If you put the number of those out, do the math on that, that is not a cheap thing to do. Not sure how many of these bubbles I want to actually make. Do I want to have it bubbled all around the entire perimeter or just in areas? Definitely should start with just in areas and see if that works. All right, Sigrid, good night. It'd be so nice if I could just go drop, move it over, drop, move it over, drop, instead of this stupid swirl, swirl, swirl I have to do after everyone. This says, Josh, do I need to go to ANET and have a little talk with them about how important SAB is? If I thought it would help, I would say yes. It's one of those, like, it's a hard decision that I understand why they made it. I don't like it, but I totally understand it. Trying to remember if there's a trick to getting rid of glue strings, like if you brush it over with alcohol or something, does that dissolve them? maybe before I do any more, let's see what it actually looks like with my shade put on there. Like this says, next time I visit, I'm sure you want to give me a tour anyway. Have I never given you a tour of ArenaNet, Aretha? I always feel weird giving tours just because, like, there's two interesting things to see. It's like, here's our kitchen with all these cool snack container bin things, and here's the game room, and everything else is just like office pods, rooms, meeting rooms. I mean, there's cool art on the walls, but all that art is available on the internet too. I don't know how I feel about it yet. I almost think maybe a less transparent glue would be better. Well, now that I know that you want to steal secret info, I'll definitely give you a tour. We keep all of our secret information in folders that say top secret on them, and they're just like laid around on random tables. Hi, Purple Dragon. How you doing? Oh, wow. You can totally hear the rain. It is deluging right now. Alright, do I like this bubbly? I mean, it definitely does help marry the two textures of the, you know, just the flat, shiny surface, and then going up into the sculpture. Is it the right shapes to marry those things? Less convinced. keep going in this direction for a bit. I'm painting this big old demon head. It's backlit by LEDs, as you can see. Conceptually, the idea is like this piece of wood is from a, you know, an evil tree or whatever, and it was cut down, and then like the evil is manifesting out of it and just bursting out. This part is cast in a translucent resin, and this is just a piece of wood that I've had laying around in my garage for decades. I finally found a good use for. Shockingly, like the shape of it is almost exactly the shape of the piece that I had, just very coincidentally, so had to use it. Yeah, so right now I'm just kind of trying to marry the two elements. I'm trying to think if I have any other substance besides hot glue that I can make little translucent blobs out of to do this. This is just obnoxiously time consuming. Tammy says, Twitch keeps dying on me every few minutes. Don't burn yourself. I'm heading back to camping. Alright. Thanks for giving it the old college try. Purple Dragon says, got any more resin? Yeah, I do have resin. Not that I can sculpt or form into little balls that I know of. It'd be fine if I could just go blob, move over, blob, move over, blob. But that just leaves so many strings. But maybe going back and cutting the strings later is faster than doing this little swirl, 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 swirl for like 3 seconds after every blob. Let's see. Alcohol? Is that what I was going to try? Let's do a quick little test, not on the sculpture. Got acetone, denatured alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, odorless mineral spirits. Okay, what's something to test this on safely? I guess this piece of garbage should work fine. gnarly strings. String, string, string. I need strings now. Purple says you can always cut the strings and hit it with a light blast FE gun. Yes, that's a good reminder. Heat gun is one way to deal with them. Okay, let's start with odorless mineral spirits. Play the Does It Dissolve game. Let's see, we're gonna just do. Okay, yeah, you can see those strings for sure. Glistening. Okay. So. Well, it did break off. It's not really dissolving. But it does look like it might be smoothing them off. And I can just kind of dispose of them after that. Okay. Now let us try. Oh, actually, the other thing we need to make sure is, sure, it dissolves the glue, but does it dissolve our lacquer as well? Or make it cloudy, or, you know, mess it up in some way or another. It's probably not the best place to do a spot test. It's a better place. It doesn't immediately react with it, so that's good. Denatured alcohol. That does not seem to be breaking it at all. Okay. Let's try isopropyl alcohol real quick. Nope, not doing anything. Acetone. Acetone's pretty gnarly stuff. It may melt through this plastic for all I know. Or it may do nothing. Okay. So looks like our winner is odorless mineral spirits. Let's test it in the field. I feel like using a little more aggressively. Here's a word that I can't think of right now. Not rough, stiff, probably stiff. Aggressively stiff brush. You guys see the little stringies there? Use this brush, just scrub them away. No, not scrub away. I guess that one kind of did. Acetone will likely mess with the lacquer. Yeah, I kind of assume it would. Oh, interesting. So these started out really clear, but blackened over. I was not expecting that. I wonder. Use a little mineral spirits and see if that clarifies. I just kind of want the top of them a little clearer. Okay, well, it kind of clouded up over time, so I'm gonna give them a little more time to see if that changes. So how have I been? Been really good. Been crazy busy. Getting so close to publishing our first book. We set a date for April 1st. And so there's a lot of like maybe difficult decisions of like, okay, what do I, because what's difficult about it is I just want this to be the greatest thing mankind has ever seen. I want to have like 1 trillion illustrations in it. And so at some point I just have to cut that down and say, okay, what's the most important things that need illustrations? What can I just not include? And so that's been, but the really exciting thing is, can I just wipe off? No, that doesn't work either. The really exciting thing is we finally got some beta readers. who actually went through the whole book and gave us feedback all the way through. And some of the feedback has just been so, just made a like in my mind, a massive improvement to what we had. I was really worried for, well, literally years. You know, the book was the first, I wouldn't even say the first draft. Like, we got an editorial review on it several years ago. I want to say maybe 3 years ago. Made a bunch of changes, but then since then we haven't had any beta readers who were, you know, just the kind of people who were interested in reading an unpublished book all the way through and giving feedback on it. So yeah, I was super worried that what we were making was not actually going to be all that great. Like, I felt like it was great, but I also have, you know, I'm too close to it, right? When you're that close to a project, you can't tell when it's good or not. But yeah, just in the past 6 months or so, we've had 3 or 4 people who actually just buckled up, read the whole thing, and commented all the way through with really good feedback. And yeah, so I'm super excited. I'm super happy. I feel like it's really strong now. Yeah, we actually have 10 books written in various states of completion. None of them that have gone through all the beta reading and stuff of this one, but this is actually a trilogy. It started out as one book, and then we broke it into a trilogy. So yeah, that's the trilogy is what we're trying to finish and have ready. So April 1st, at least the first book will be available, and the next ones will be coming very shortly after. What it's about, it's kind of a fantasy adventure. It takes place in a world that I've been world building on for like 20 years. And let's see if I could summarize this well. I failed every time I've tried to do this off the cuff. So let's see how well I do this time. It's good practice. It is about a young man named Beaumark who lives on an isolated island nation. He is the prince, or a prince. Their culture has it so that you have to go through a process called the proving in order to become the king. And that process is you have to fight someone on a bronze, like a giant bronze disc suspended over lava. And let's see, bad guys are trying to usurp the kingdom. They find a way to get him to where he has to abdicate and run off to the rest of the world to gather intel and treasure from other kingdoms to bring back so that he can reclaim the throne and stop the bad guy from making everyone's life miserable. Boy, I'm doing a super terrible job. Along the way, he meets a wise and cantankerous mentor named Skola, who is a creature who is the size of a toddler, shaped kind of like a wrinkly black bag with spines on it. And his mentor knows about the world, whereas Beaumark does not, so he's kind of stuck with this guy that he does not like, and doesn't particularly like him either, but this guy wants to get to his island because his people have never been to that island, and spreading his people is kind of a prime directive for them, so he will get fame and fortune if he helps Beaumark out on his journey. You can find out all about it on breathoflifedev.com, DEV. Yeah, I bet like a D&D campaign, that's, we've actually run into some problems where some of the beta readers are like, yeah, this feels too much like a game. So we'll be addressing that. Most of it is probably the wording, I think. Oh, you think everything is like a campaign? Well, fair enough. Purple Dragon says, if I remember this correctly, D&D is very relatable to Lord... Lord? Do you mean Lord of the Rings? Lord of Rings the? Which may be due to inspiration from Lord and many other books and stories. After all, a story of a hero adversing evil with a team is a tale as old as time. Yes. Yes, it is. Always want to add some kind of new twist on the formula, which I think we do. Interesting. These guys have clouded up again. I do not know what is causing that. What would do that? dyslexic typing. That's alright. What I was trying to get at is those of us who play D&D kind of see the game in almost everything, sadly just due to how in-depth we get with the game itself. But yes, adding something new to the formula is what always helps. Yep. Alita says, "Arrgh! I just got done racking my brains for related products to my book and submitted an ad for Amazon, but I forgot D&D. Oh no!" Yes, that's definitely a natural one for your books, Alita. So sad. That's okay. I think there are enough gaming related books and other things, it doesn't matter, but the irony is hilarious. Nolita says, "My exercise today is running back and forth through the house with a dried vine that the cats love to chase. Random from outside and they love it more than any other toy. Random stick." Whatever gets you moving. Can't argue with that. Dragon says, well, I'm gonna lurk for a bit now. I am standing up the Battle of the 5 Armies because it's my free day. Cool. Have fun in that army. I forget were the Eagles technically a part of that, or one of the armies? I want to get a ball pit for the cats. Wow, that'd be crazy. Ben Mortis says, I've been playing AC Odyssey all day. Boy, does my sword hurt. Heard a lot of people saying it's really good. I haven't played, like, really got into an Assassin's Creed since, oh gosh, was it the second one or the third one that was in Italy? I would like to sit down, play one of the newer ones for 40 hours or 60 hours or whatever, but I gotta get my book done. Can't start any games right now. Ben Mortis says, 50 hours into this game. For a single player game, that's amazing. Letha says, darn it, now I gotta look up the Assassin's Creed kitten video. Yep. Oldie but a goodie. Delete this as parkour is pretty fun looking stuff. I'd break every bone in my body. Parkour is fun. Took Shane to a couple lessons when he was like 13 or 14. Sadly, at the time, the only place that had parkour classes was like in North Seattle, which no matter which direction we drove was always like an hour and a half drive traffic. I haven't tried it seriously myself. I mean, I've always enjoyed running and jumping and climbing on whatever I could. It definitely looked fun. I mean, it was a class for kids, so it was mostly the basics of like how to, you know, jump over a wall that's half your height, how to tuck and roll after a jump, you know, that kind of stuff. But parkour gyms are super cool. I would love to design one. In fact, before parkour was a concept, I had this idea for a kind of action-adventure gym, which is basically going to be a, you know, a Super Mario Brothers gym, obstacle course kind of thing, where you could like bounce off trampolines and jump over perilous gaps that would, you know, if you fall, you'd fall 10 feet into a ball pit or something like that. Would still love to design something like that. At some point there's going to be a really cool mix of kind of what I described with AR, where you can put on super lightweight AR, you know, glasses, goggles, whatever, with a, you know, a little strap to keep them on your head, but then you could totally be in a live action video game with running, jumping, shooting, bouncing, all that stuff. I still want a jumping puzzle gym when I'm a billionaire author. Yep, me too. this way, and then I can have gravity working with me instead of against me. Still end up with nice little spherical globules on the sides. Less drip-like. I don't want them to look like drips. I want them to look like boiling evil. Mixed with zipline course. That would be cool. Like at Northwest Trek. Hey, we should plan on doing that this next summer. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of fun, but I wouldn't want to do it without Heather, and Heather would totally want to do it, and then she would end up injuring herself severely, or feel sad that she couldn't do as much as she wants. Yeah, definitely a huge challenge physically. I'm surprised I survived the hardest course Melissa kindly signed us up for. That was my first time ever doing it. It was fun but exhausting. Yeah. Especially those parts where you're climbing on nets. That was exhausting. Michelle and Mom didn't do it. They walked around the rest of the park while me, Melissa, and Janae did it. Alright, batteries are running low. I bet my headphone's about to crap out anyway, so this is a good time to call it for today. I'll see you guys on Wednesday, and yeah, go to some of the links that my Nightbot just posted over there. And visit my other web zones. Alright, see you guys. Bye-bye.